Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kat, and today I'm doing my favorite completed illustrated stories, novels of the year. So, I do read all types, but I believe, yep, all of them on this list are Manhwa, which means they are translated from Korean. Yes, so Korea this year absolutely killed it in like all the illustrated categories that I read. I realized my top 30 illustrated, both ongoing and completed, 26 of them are Korean. That's insane. So I'm loving what's coming out of Korea right now. My complete list, I have 7 that I want to talk about with you, and these are truly like amazing. So if you're thinking about picking any of them up, please do. We also have my only 5-star read of the year in this list, as well as my only 5-star read in the last 5 years. If you don't know, I've only ever given 6 things 5 stars because it has to be absolutely perfect for me to give 5 stars. I am such a picky person to give 5 stars. So let's get it going. Number 7 on this list is Stranger in the Mirror. This is a sci-fi story that deals with AI themes. So we are dealing with a soldier who goes in on a raid with other warrior robots who are helping the police, but suddenly all their masks turn red and they kill all the humans. And he escapes, and he's one of the only ones out alive. No one will believe him though, that that's what happened. And he's left with like significant like AI and robot trauma. Like he doesn't trust them at all. And then a few years later, he is forced to have a robot partner who is good at like assessing risk and running data. So they need to pair up in the military police together. This is absolutely phenomenal. The art is amazing. Even like who I would say like the villains are fascinated me. Like I am like gasping like, oh my god, I kind of love them. They're iconic and they're also fucking evil. Sadly though, this is completed, even though it's not completed, because from what the notice was, the artist canceled after chapter 55 because Korean readers hated the fact that China was showed to be the supreme country with the advanced technology. So the artist was hounded so badly that they canceled this series completely. And it's nowhere near complete. So like, oh, shame on them. Like it's just a story, guys, calm down. Yeah, so this sadly is completed because it's never gonna be completed. So I guess I can't in good faith recommend it to you, but I am anyway. It's amazing, but yeah, it's super disappointing that that happened. Okay, next up, number 6 on the list is Murderous, Lewellyn's Candlelit Dinner. So this one is historical, and it follows a guy who is trying to become published. So he wants to be a writer. And he's very poor, and he's in this like cold, cramped apartment in the city, and it's like smoggy and cold, and you know, his fingers are on the typewriter, when he gets this weird neighbor who like lives next to him, sits on the stairs and eats onions. That's all he does. He just eats onions. And he ignores his neighbor at first, and then he's like, hey buddy, you good? Because it's weird behavior to just sit on the stairs and eat onions. And then he goes into his apartment and he sees a corpse. And he's like, what is happening? Oh my god, I need to move. So he tries, his plans are thwarted. He must stay in that apartment. And the story goes from there. And when I tell you that the backstory to this will rip your heart out and stomp all over it, it really will do that. I was tearing up during this, and I was just so surprised about a lot of the things that were revealed, and also what the fucking onions were about, because that's crazy. That's crazy. Just eating raw onions only. That's wild behavior. So yeah, I highly recommend this one, and it is darker, but not, I would say, uber dark. Like, it has a little murder, gore, a little bit of everything, you know what I'm saying? But it's not like truly like Red Mansion Killing Stalking level. Okay, next I want to talk about number 5, which is Minmotion Syndrome by Niji. And this is set in Omegaverse. So if you don't know what Omegaverse is, it's the same as now, but there's 3 types of people basically. Alpha, beta, omega. Betas are usually normal people. Omegas are capable of becoming pregnant, and alphas are usually like strengthened physically and also capable of getting omegas pregnant. So we are following one of my favorite things, which is a super badass omega who's very strong. And he's the leader of this corporation, which also has like mafia ties, and he doesn't take anything from anyone. And he buys the debt of a very strong alpha, and he says, like, basically, I own you now. You're going to be my manservant who's going to help me, because he's starting to stir up trouble with, like, the forces that be in the city. So he needs, like, a bodyguard that's loyal to him and very strong. So that's the situation. This has so many things that I love. First off, wow. The looks, the face cards. So the Omega, he has long silver hair and flower tattoos on his neck, and he's a straight baddie. straight baddie. And the Alpha has like short black hair and gauges in his ears, and I'm like, bark. What else does anyone need? That's amazing. I love both how they're drawn. And they together are so awesome. Because as you can imagine, it's kind of like enemies to lovers, bodyguard, like alpha, omega, but everything is kind of twisted on its head a little. And I loved their dynamic. I loved this so much. So much. Yep. Okay. Next is number 4, Radio Storm. So Radio Storm is the opposite of what we just talked about. So it's not sexy, it's more like, ooh, gruesome, intellectual, and like haunting, okay? So we're dealing with a zombie apocalypse where there's been an outbreak. It's like really cold, bleak winter. And there's this center where people are kept who are cores, and they have to link up with someone who can basically not neutralize them, but like calm them down. And when there's an attack on the center, the main character flees, and he runs into someone else who's fighting to survive, who like syncs with him, and they are traversing the wilderness together, trying not to get caught, trying not to survive. And this is so good. It is so good. The end made me furious. I reread the end. Oh, it made me furious and then vindicated. Like, it has one of the... Yeah. Yep. Well, okay, yeah. The top 4 all have amazing scenes, but, like, the end, one of the end scenes in Radio Storm, I'm like, oh, you done fucked up with the wrong person. Oh, wow. You fucked with the wrong person. And I'm just sitting there reading, like, cackling maniacally. And my husband is like, are you good? And I'm like, I'm feeling bloodthirsty rage. Yeah, so this is so good. Haunting, dark, very good. Very good. All right, number 3. Oh my God, let's talk about number 3. Number 3, I just finished last night because I was waiting to finish it until I had a moment where I could finish it all together. I read the last 20 chapters all at once because it was the final battle. Do you know what I mean? You can't read the final battle one chapter at a time. That's psycho behavior. So it's called I Stole the Number 1 Ranker's Soul, and it's dealing with dungeon portal fantasy again. I'm really into that, and it's really like permeated everywhere. So this is dealing with a world where awakeners happen, like people who awaken and they get sudden powers when they're pulled into dungeons. And we're following a main character who, she's pulled into one and she's a gatherer. So like she gathers things from dungeons and adds them to her inventory. And she's in this world she should not be in because she's super, super low rank. And she witnesses the boss battle between the #1 fighter in the world and a monster. And when he accidentally is killed, she harvests his soul bead. So she literally accidentally stole the #1 ranker's soul. So he is like a ghost that's attached to her, following her around as she's pulled into different sort of dungeon shenanigans, and she's slowly like leveling up over time, and then things go from there. This series is absolutely fantastic. I would recommend this to literally anyone. It's not horror, it's not gore, it's action. And there is like a romance subplot, but it is so low below the action. It's mostly like really strong action, great plot, amazing characters. Like all of the characters are amazing. The world building is awesome. And the way that she levels up her different powers and the way it interacts with her ghost like companion is so cool. I loved this so much. And when I finished it last night, I was like, fuck yeah, that's how you do it. My husband, who had been very patiently waiting for me to finish it because it was already way past bedtime, he's like, was it worth it? And I was like, hell yeah, it was worth it. That was so cool. And he's like, are you gonna be able to sleep? And I'm like, I don't know, but worth it. So yeah, it was so good. It was so good. Highly, highly, highly recommend. Okay, let's talk about my #2 for this year, which is Traces of the Sun. Okay, let's just start off with the trigger warning. This made me weep like a baby. It made me weep like a baby. So again, this is a dungeon portal fantasy. I just realized after doing this review how many are on this list. I am not sorry for that because they're amazing, but I just didn't realize it till right now. So we're dealing with a world, yeah, where dungeons have opened up in the past. There was like a super big one and a bunch of fighters went in, and only our main character came out, and he was using like an invisibility potion at that time, so no one knew that he came back out. But because his power is like rebuilding or reanimating, in order to escape in the dungeon, he reanimated his friends. So when they walk out behind him, all the zombie corpses of his friends come with him under the invisibility cloak. And so he is living in his apartment with all of the decaying bodies of his friends, just like shuffling around. Like they're non-violent, but they're just decaying before his eyes. And it is literally the most heart-wrenching thing you can think of. Like it is so awful. And he realizes that the only way he can die, because he's a reanimator, he can't kill himself. So the only way he can is if he makes a deal with a fighter who's powerful enough to nullify his powers so that he can leave. So he strikes up the deal with one of the strongest fighters, and he's like, hey, I will work with you this many times. And the number is the number of friends he has plus 1. And he wants to use the power to kill his friends one by one to send them off, you know, to the next life. And then the last one's for him. And that is a heartbreaking premise at the beginning, and it's a freaking heartbreaking premise the whole way through, all the way to the end. All the way to the end. I was weeping, crying throughout the whole time. The whole time. And if you think that it's gonna make you cry, you're right. It's gonna make you really cry. But was it amazing? It's absolutely fucking amazing. Like, I told my husband my 2 favorites of the year. He will hate #1. He will love #2. This one. This is like, because, oh yeah, I forgot to mention, each of the dungeons is a 7 wonder of the world. One of the 7 wonders. So it's like Dungeons and Dragons, kind of, times 7 wonders. And I think my husband would love it. I think a lot of people would like this. Okay, it's time to talk about my #1 pick for 2024, which is The Beast Must Die. This is absolutely phenomenal, and it's the only 5-star I gave this year, and it's the only 5-star I've given the last 5 years. I have only ever given 6 items. That's 10. This is 6. I've only ever given 6 things 5 stars. I am super, super picky. It has to be absolutely perfect to me, and this is. However, there's a huge caveat here because I can barely recommend this to anyone. It is super, super dark. Like I would say the threshold is if you are fine with reading Killing Stalking, you'll be fine reading this. Okay? If you can't read Killing Stalking, I would probably just skip this one because this is my only recommendation of all the recommendations I'm making for the entire year that has a black flag character. So if you don't know what a black flag is, it's a character who hesitates not only to kill or hurt other people, but also their like love interest or the other main character. So the reason why is because this character is a true psychopath. I'm not sure if he's a sociopath as well, but he's definitely a psychopath. And his thing is playing like cat and mouse and psychological games and killing other people. So, our main character is out for revenge after his sister left this world of her own volition. And he wants to find out what happened, why, and get revenge on the people who caused it. And from the jump, things are very dark because he approaches a guy who he knows the people in the club. And that guy is like, hey, I don't do random favors. So convince me that this is going to be interesting. Because he's a psychopath and he only cares about being like entertained. So the other guy's like, okay, I'll entertain you. And things go from there. And it is extremely dark, but it is so brilliant. So as they are like going down this thing to get revenge on every single person who led to his sister's death, it's a constant battle between the main character being like, great, this other guy is helping me. This other guy wants to fuck me. This other guy wants to hurt me and kill me. I can't really tell. The vibes are weird. And the vibes are weird, and you don't know either. You don't know up until the very end what is gonna happen. You cannot tell. You are like bamboozled, and anything could happen. Anything. And the plot is so tight, so perfect. There's nothing extraneous, and it is very dark. So like, I personally loved everything about this. I think it is an absolute 5 star, like I said. It's so captivating when it's like the person who can help you get revenge is also the person who might end up killing you first. Like, that is so interesting to grapple with, and I loved the dynamics. I loved the dynamics, and I immediately after finishing this went to buy a physical, and I almost never buy physicals of, well, most books really, unless they're my favorite or I find them at an op shop. But I was like, I will buy these fresh off the press, all of them right now. Tell me why the physical editions are only translated into German. Why? Why? If anyone knows where I can get physical editions in English, let me know, okay? Because I don't know. I don't know where. I mean, you can read it on Lezhin. Like, you can read an e-copy, but it's so good, I need a physical copy immediately. That's like one of my other favorite series of all time is Twittering Birds Never Fly, and I collect the physicals up there. Yeah, so let me know if you know that very obscure information. And also, if you read manga, manhwa, let me know what your favorites of the year were down below. I would love, love, love to know. And also let me know if you're going to pick any of these up, because I love all of them. So yeah, I hope that you're reading some good stuff and that someone out there reads The Beast Must Die, because I need to geek over it with someone. Please, let me know. Okay, toodles, bye!